And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar, 1776 Radio, and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Jon Matthews with his series, The Conservative Syndicate. And I was on Jon's show last night, but we had a great time. You don't want to miss Jon. He's got a show on theconservativesyndicate.net every Monday through Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., I think it's 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. So you don't want to miss it. It's great. And I'm on there every Wednesday with Jon. And then my special guest today, Sean LaFave, with his healthcare series, Geared for Wellness. Well, stand by for news. But before that, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's cooled down a little bit because that's only from 95. Yesterday was 102, so, go figure. This is a lot better off, right? Well, you know what? We're going to talk about the news. We tell you about that every day. Today's no different than the other, except that we've got some exciting stuff today. First off, the latest, the GOP hopefuls say they'll cancel Obama's orders. The latest on the first Republican debate of the 2016 campaign for president. What's the first executive order they'll issue on the first day in the Oval Office? For the candidates taking part in the early forum, that's the kiddie table, before tonight's primetime GOP presidential primary debate, the answer is simple. Get rid of those issued by President Barack Obama. They're talking about the executive orders. Says former Texas Governor Rick Perry, it's going to be a pretty busy day. It will be a real long day. George Pataki says he undid many of the executive orders of Mario Cuomo when he took over as New York governor. I would do this to Barack Obama's executive orders too. Former technology executive Carly Fiorina piled on. She says, I would begin by undoing a whole set of things Barack Obama has done. Among Obama's most unpopular executive orders among Republicans are his directives to close the U.S. prison at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba and defer the deportation of some people living in the country illegally. The lesser-known Republican presidential contenders are eager to go after Planned Parenthood. At the Cleveland debate of second-tier GOP candidates today, Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal said the Justice Department and IRS should investigate the group. He also called on Republicans in Congress to cancel federal funding for the organization, even if doing that sparks a government shutdown. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham denied Democratic charges that the GOP's concern about the group is part of a war on women. The discussion was sparked by undercover videos that show Planned Parenthood officials talking about harvesting organs from aborted babies, Graham said. That's the real war on women. Former New York Governor George Pataki is the lone candidate who supports abortion rights, but even he called for defunding the group. Hear. You know what? If you'd have listened to my show or to listen to my show. Well, my show, obviously, you need to listen to that every day. But if you were listening to me on Jon's show, Jon Matthews, the Conservative Syndicate last night, we dealt with this in some great detail. You know what? He's got a great show. You don't want to miss it. Now, also in today, differing messages on that 777 part frustrate Flight 375 families. The Malaysian government was certain the airplane part found on an Indian Ocean island came from Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Now, investigators in France weren't so sure quite yet, and those differing approaches created confusion and anguish today for the families of those aboard that ill-fated flight. From our first observation, the color tone, and all maintenance records that we have, that we know, Malaysian Transport Minister Leon Tong Lai said, our records show that it's the same as MH370. He added that there are many other technical details that I do not have to reveal that confirm that part is from Flight 370, Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak announced early today at the piece of debris known as the flaperon part that is actually there. You know, it's just, if they're not sure, they shouldn't have said anything, for Pete's sake, you know. But, you know, how many, there's no other 777s missing. And this is a part from a 777. So give me a break. It's a pretty good guess, right? But they still shouldn't have done it until they were absolutely sure. That family deserves to have the proper closure. Well, movie theater attacker may have planned to set off an explosion. The disturbed homeless man who attacked a movie theater with a pellet gun, an axe, and pepper spray also had a propane tank and lighter fluid and may have been planning to set off an explosion, authorities said today. Vincent David Montano, 29 years old, was shot to death by a SWAT unit yesterday during the matinee showing of Mad Max Fury Road at the Nashville area multiplex. Metro Nashville police spokesman Don Aaron said investigators had not established a motive for the attack, but he said Montano had been committed for psychiatric treatment at least 4 times, twice in 2004 and twice in 2007. According to police reports, his mother said he had a long history of mental problems, including hearing voices. This individual has had significant psychiatric and psychological issues, Aaron said. In addition to his weapons, a backpack and a duffel bag Montano had, a canister of propane lighter fluid, and a lighter that may have been intended to set off the blast, Aaron said. But, he said, Montano had made a gash on the canister, rendering it useless. Well, thank goodness for that, right? Well, you know, I'm just disappointed. I say this every day. You know, the news is depressing. If you don't have psychological problems, just read the news once in a while. That'll fix that problem for you. Well, police say suspect in custody in Louisiana officer's death. Here's the thing. A suspect wanted in the shooting death of a Shreveport police officer was taken into custody after a round-of-the-clock manhunt, Louisiana State Police said today. Major Doug Kane, Louisiana State Police, identified the suspect as Grover Deandre Cannon and said he was wanted not only in the fatal shooting of Officer Thomas LaValle on Wednesday, but also in connection with another shooting in July. The capture was the result of efforts by the FBI, the Shreveport Police Department, the U.S. Marshal's Office, Cato Parish Sheriff's Office, and Louisiana State Police. The FBI offered a reward of up to $25,000 for information leading to Cannon's arrest. LaValle, 29, was shot multiple times while answering a call about suspicious person at a home in the city's Queensboro neighborhood. Shreveport Police Chief Willie Shaw said neighbors told the officer that the man inside the home was wanted. Shaw says the officer didn't know the man was armed, and he went inside and was shot. Well, don't go away. We've got more news. This one is about Springsteen on The Daily Show. Studio, as Stewart says, farewell. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking about news, and now this news is not, well, it's sad, but it's not catastrophic, for Pete's sake. Well, Springsteen was in the Daily Show studio as Stewart says farewell. Jon Stewart says goodbye today after 16 years on Comedy Central's The Daily Show that established him as America's foremost satirist of politicians and the media. Stewart, 52 years old, announced last winter that he was getting restless and it was time to move on. Trevor Noah replaces him as host next month. Armed with a razor-sharp wit and research team adept at finding video evidence of hypocrisy or unintentional comedy among the nation's establishment, Stewart turned a sleepy basic cable entertainment show into a powerful cultural platform. Though guests for today's show weren't announced, Bruce Springsteen, who has appeared on The Daily Show multiple times, and members of the E Street Band were seen entering the studio before the taping for the final show began. He turned the spotlight on himself during his penultimate show yesterday, noting how instructions he had supposedly eviscerated were stronger than ever. This guy is something else. The world is demonstrably worse than when I started, Stewart wailed. Have I caused this? His only solace was that his beloved New York Mets were in first place on the day of his last show. Fellow comic Louis C.K., as guest Wednesday, noted that Stewart was able to keep his show fresh and funny for a long time, keeping up with the world changes. It really is one of the great comedy accomplishments of all time, he said. A line of people hoping to get into the taping gathered outside the Comedy Central studio on Manhattan's far west side, First in line was Chad Lance, a 27-year-old musician from Philadelphia who said he arrived at 2:30 a.m., who said he couldn't wait to see what happened. No one knows who's going to come. No one knows what's going to happen, he said. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting TV tapings ever. 21-year-old Jessica Vidovich was anxiously waiting to see if she'd get a seat. I think Stewart has contributed so much to the political consciousness, especially my generation, she said. For this to be his finale, it's a huge cultural movement or moment. Stewart's fans will be forced to navigate the first presidential election since 1996 without his commentary, a loss that felt particularly acute when the first Republican candidate's debate taking place less than 3 hours after the taping of his final show. The Daily Show airs at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's the third major farewell for a late-night television personality in 8 months. Stewart's Comedy Central colleague, Stephen Colbert, ended the Colbert Report in December. David Letterman signed off from CBS in May to be replaced this fall by Colbert. You know what? Just the good guys are leaving. This is crazy, right? The good guys are leaving. And they're leaving, though, they're at the top of their game, so good for them. Well, the Associated Press news break, email leak suggests Ecuador spied on opposition. Ecuadorian opposition activist Dr. Carlos Figueroa was being pursued by the state when his email and Facebook accounts were hacked. Several dozen of his colleagues have similarly had their digital lives violated. All blamed President Rafael Correa's government, but no one had proof. The Associated Press has found compelling evidence that Figueroa was indeed hacked by Ecuador's domestic intelligence agency, some software tailor made by an Italy-based company called Hacking Team that outfits governments with digital break-in tools. Wow. And it goes on and on and on. Just, you know what? Just never stops, right? Just never stops. Well, you know what? On the anniversary, Obama says too few hard-won voting right. Here's the thing. Marking the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, President Barack Obama remembered the African-American men and women across the South who won their rights through persistence and courage, and he urged citizens today not to give up that hard-earned power of the ballot. Americans owe a great debt, Obama said, to the thousands, many of them unnamed, who were courageous enough to walk up and try to register time and time again. Sharecroppers, maids, ordinary folks, had it not been for them awakening the consciousness of the nation, the president could not have mustered the political support that was required to ultimately get this seminal law passed, Obama said. He appeared at a White House event alongside Representative John Lewis, a Democrat from Georgia, who was among the civil rights protesters who marched with Martin Luther King Jr. in Selma, Alabama in 1965. News broadcasts showing police beating protesters, especially live coverage of the bloody Sunday attack at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, stirred outrage and helped President Lyndon Johnson push the Voting Rights Act through Congress. You know, just that was a fantastic law, and it was one of those laws that doesn't outlive its necessity. The proof of that is that when the Supreme Court said we no longer need that law, no longer need to uphold that law, then states immediately started making voting more and more difficult and playing that game. You know, voting, while it is a privilege for free people, it's a right of American citizens, and they're playing games with it, and it just simply shouldn't be that way. Well, let me leave you with this. The latest wildfire evacuees begin to trickle back home. At 3:50 p.m., some of the people driven from their homes by a massive Northern California wildfire are being allowed back. State Fire spokesman Blanca Mercado says residents of the handful of neighborhoods are being allowed to return today, and authorities hope to allow more in the next 24 hours. Some 13,000 people have either been ordered or urged to evacuate. Mercado says more than just the fire itself is preventing people from returning. Fire crews are using the sometimes tiny roads to get access to the blaze that has burned more than 100 square miles. Wow. Now, don't go away. When we come back, it's going to be the IRS loses. And right up front, an appeals officer cannot review a consecutive tax bill. That's the deal. Tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine. Kind of hard for that to happen when it's actually 89 degrees where I'm at. Well, it's really not 89 degrees where I'm at because I'm in nice air-conditioned comfort. But if I stepped outside, it's 89 degrees now, and earlier it was up to 93. Anyway, let's talk about the IRS loses. First case up is an appeals officer cannot review consecutive tax bills. Let me tell you about it. A couple sought to avoid a levy to collect their 2000 taxes, but an IRS appeals officer ruled against them, noting that they had apparently underpaid their taxes in 2001 and 2002 as well. Later, the IRS moved to collect for those years. The couple went to IRS appeals again, were assigned the same appeals officer, and he ruled against them again. They protested that the law requires an appeals officer to be impartial and have no prior involvement with the tax being assessed. This is what the IRS said. The appeals officer had no role in assessing the 2001 and 2002 taxes. They went to court. This is what the judge said. The appeals officer had previously used those tax bills as evidence against the couple, so he was not impartial, and they got a new hearing. That's exactly what you'd expect to have happen. That's called justice, folks. How about this? The IRS loses. Tax court may review frivolous return penalties. Here, let me tell you all about it. A couple filed a return reporting their tax due and an overpayment and claiming a refund. They also wrote on the return that the IRS had violated their civil rights, mentioning a civil suit that they had filed against it. The IRS imposed a $500 frivolous return penalty as a result. They protested in tax court, but the IRS said that the court had no jurisdiction to review the penalty. This is what the court said, though. Tax code changes made way back in 2006 gave the court jurisdiction to review these penalties, and here, in spite of the couple's statements, they apparently had filed an accurate return and didn't invoke any of the IRS's own list of frivolous arguments. So, their case will be heard. Well, not only will it be heard, it was heard, and they won. Shame on the IRS. I say that every day. I feel that way, too. How about this? The IRS loses. Medical students, medical residents, they're exempt from FICA tax. You know what that is? That's Social Security Medicare, right? Both sides of that thing. Let me tell you about it. Federal law says FICA employment tax does not apply to wages earned for services provided to a college or university by a student enrolled and regularly attending classes there. So, a university said that it didn't owe FICA tax on wages that it paid to its medical residents who worked in local hospitals. The IRS's reply to that? IRS regulations state that students who work full-time do not qualify for exemption. Moreover, students who work full-time at hospitals do not attend classes at the university. So they went to court. What do you suppose the judge said? Let me tell you, the IRS regulation is invalid because it contradicts the law. And a hospital setting is the necessary classroom setting for medical students. So the exemption applies. Now, you just gotta love this stuff, right? I know I do. It's just the way it ought to be. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's where we're at right now with this Inside the IRS segment. Let me tell you, let's just get right into it right up front. You know, making a deal to reduce your credit card debt can actually mean problems with the IRS if you think about it. Let me tell you about it. If you're solvent, that means your assets exceed your liabilities, and you compromise, that means you settle the amount of debt owed to a credit card company, or any creditor for that matter, the amount of debt discharged represents taxable income. Now, many credit card companies are going to file Form 1099-C, that's the form for cancellation of debt, with the IRS to report the amount of debt that you were relieved of paying. Now, the best approach here, do not compromise your debt until you are insolvent or have the debt discharged in a bankruptcy proceeding. Then you're not going to be subject to any additional tax. That's just the way it works, folks. Well, here's one for you. Tax preparers are illegally claiming the earned income credit and are the newest IRS targets. Now, according to the IRS, 70% of tax returns claiming the credit are prepared by professionals. There is a significant amount of abuse as professionals pad their fees by making up numbers permitting tax payers to get refunds for the earned income credit, for which they don't really qualify. How this increases the preparer's income? These preparers not only charge for the tax return preparation, but also receive fees from lending institutions for arranging tax refund loans at very high interest rates for their low-income clients. Fees are based on the size of the loan and therefore on the size of the refund. The IRS's approach? Certain taxpayers who have been identified by the IRS will be visited during the year and shut down if the violations are actually detected. Now, in case you think this is just some small thing, the average earned income credit is between $3,000 and $5,000. Multiply that by the number of fraudulent income tax credits that go out there. Yeah. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Jon LaFave. We're going to be talking about his Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. So, you know what? If you go away, I'm going to come looking for you. And if I have to come looking for you, you guys are going to be in real trouble. So, we'll be right back. Don't even try it. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings. I can't hardly wait for him to tell me what it is we're talking about, because sometimes he just kind of keeps it a secret. But let's get him right in here, because I just love talking to this guy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Jon LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Where are you this time of day? Are you out meandering around? Are you in a local bar someplace with a cute little girl, or what are you doing?
I like the last option a lot, but that's just not the case. I'm actually in.
Well, so you're actually in an alley with an ugly woman.
That's exactly where I am. Yep, you nailed it. You got me. So no, I'm actually in Laguna Beach. I'm still here in Orange County, but I'm in Laguna Beach, and we're kind of getting set up and ready for a fun night tonight. Right after I'm done with the show, we're going to go set up and have a big party, a big spread of food and wine and beer and the whole bits, and just an opening night play. It's not actually opening night, but we kind of treat it like it is. But it's a play on the movie Footloose.
Oh, how great! Are you in this?
What's that?
Are you in it?
No, gosh, no. No, that would be. I have the cowboy boots. That's about as much as I get into being in a play like Footloose. No, if you're celebrating this, you must know people that are in it. Then I don't actually know anybody in the play.
You're
know
just
people.
A party animal, aren't you?
I'm just a guy that just says, hey, let's find a reason to party. There's a play tonight. Let's go buy a bunch of food and invite strangers. No, I know the.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I could have done this broadcast remotely, and I've missed out on many a great opportunity for the lack of an invitation.
Oh, well, I don't know why you should have just come. I could have had you come here. We could have done it right in the middle of the party. The party starts at 5:00, so the timing works out perfectly. But no, I just know some of the people who run the Playhouse and people who are on the board of directors and all that stuff. And so, I try to volunteer and help out when I can. The Laguna Playhouse is just an absolutely wonderful little playhouse. And they put on just top-notch plays from people from productions from all over the world, really.
That sounds
great.
And
some of the productions they put on are just absolutely amazing. I've probably been to 15 different plays here before.
Wow, that sounds absolutely fantastic. And so, did you say this was actually opening night for this one?
No, we treat it like it is, but this is not actually opening night. But we call it opening night celebration, but it's not actually opening night. So we just have fun with the name. But it's just I think we invited for this particular party, we've got 130 people coming plus whatever guests are coming to watch the play.
Oh wow!
So
how big is the theater, Sean?
I think it seats. I want to say it seats close to like 300 people. I don't know the exact number, but I want to say it's
so it's
about
very
300.
intimate.
What's that?
It's very intimate.
Yeah. It's a small playhouse. Yeah, it's not really big at all. But the plays that they have here are just they're just amazing. It's top notch stuff. I've seen all kinds of great plays. They're going to have Blues Brothers here later this month, and it's just some of them are. They just have some fun. As a matter of fact, oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. Forget it. I'm gonna sit here and stammer for a half hour trying to remember someone's name.
That's okay. That happens to me all the time. But I attribute it to my age, and I pray to God it's nothing else, right?
But we've had single individuals come up and do an entire show, if you will. And sometimes, one play I saw was just two guys, and they just did a history of some of the great books, some of the great classic books here, and it was unbelievably hilarious. Two guys on the stage, just for the entire show, and it was just hilarious. It was so much fun. But anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm in Laguna Beach, and I love Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach is just such a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, you know what?
And it's not 98 degrees or whatever you said it was there. It's still warm and it's humid because we got some rain earlier today, but it's not 98.
Oh, you got rain today?
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I love community theater. I used to live in Ontario, and they had a small community theater there. And they haven't had it for years. They just ran out of money and couldn't support it, and the public wasn't supporting it well enough. But boy, it was wonderful. You get in there, and everybody knew everybody, and it was intimate, and it was small, and at the end of the performance, the players or whoever is there is out front there waiting for you. You're talking to them. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. After the show, especially on the opening night, but even after most shows, but especially on opening night, they'll come out and they'll walk down. It's got like this big spiral staircase that comes from upstairs back down into the big lobby area, and they'll come down, and it's just kind of neat to see them, in just normal civilian clothes, not dressed up, and it's just a lot of fun. I enjoy that part of it. It's great.
Well, I was thinking when you were talking about getting down and getting this party going and all this stuff going, it was good. It was because you were going to be watching the presidential debates, but obviously that's not going to be anything to celebrate unless they unleash Donald Trump.
Well, I tell you, I'm really. I wish I could watch it. I'm really curious, but I really when it's what is there? Is it 10 guys? I don't even know how many there is.
Well,
but,
there's 20.
There's
There's 17 people running for the Republican nomination.
Are all 17 of them at the debate, though?
But there's only going to be 10 on this one. They had 7 on what they call the kids' table, the prior debate. It's already over that they had it earlier. Matter of fact, I don't even think it was televised, to be honest with you. And but the big debate will be on tonight with the 10 guys that got the most what's the word I was going to say votes, but the popularity. And
I am very interested in hearing what Trump has to say. I guess I'd have to say I'm a Republican. I don't really like to identify as a Republican or a Democrat. I just like to think that maybe I'm smart enough that I would just vote for whoever I think is going to make the best decisions for this country. And I don't even know if there's anybody out there who can do that anymore.
Well, good. That's good for you because you know what? I am a registered Republican. However, if I could vote in a primary, I'd be an independent because I generally, the fact that I'm a registered Republican, it's got to do with the fact that I was in business for myself for so long and in basic platform beliefs and things. I don't believe in the entire platform, but the truth is that I have an open mind and I'm going to vote for the guy that I think is going to do the best job for me.
Right, and I think that's the way everybody should vote. Unfortunately, there are people out there, that's will just only vote Republican or just only vote Democrat, and it really mucks things up, and it just creates problems. People, they're blindly voting at that point, and I don't get it. And I tell you, I am so upset right now with the Republican Party. In general, I talked about, I don't know if it was last week that I talked about the DARK Act, or if it was the week before that was being pushed through the Senate, and it just passed, and it just is and this was primarily driven by the Republicans, and that's what I don't get is the Republican Party to me should stand for freedom of information and right to know and informed consent and those kinds of things, but they seem right now hell bent on taking that away from people, and I just don't get it. This DARK Act, which they call it DARK, it's Deny Americans the Right to Know is what it's been nicknamed, but it was this act that was pushed through that has just now passed, and it prohibits any state from requiring GMO labeling. So they have not only said it's not like they said, well, it's not required. What they're saying is it's prohibited. It's forbidden. You are not allowed to say whether or not a food is GMO. You're not even allowed to say, hey, this is made from non-GMO organic stuff. You're not even allowed to say that right now.
So whatever happened to the concept of free trade?
That's what I don't know. It's somebody is getting rich and fat.
You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail right on the head there, Sean. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Somebody is getting rich and fat. Actually, more than one.
There's no explanation that makes any sense of why the Republican Party and a large percentage of the Democrat Party right now also, because the bill passed, it was a huge, what's the number? I got it right here in front of me. 275 votes to 150 votes. So there was a bunch of Democrats on board too. Yeah. I mean, but this should have been 0 votes in favor of this. Like that makes no sense to me. Why would the United States is going down this path where basically they're going to say, here's food, shut your mouth, actually open your mouth and eat it, but then when you're done, shut your mouth and don't talk to me because you're not allowed to know what's in it.
Yeah, it's a stretch for the analogy I'm going to draw here too, because I part of the news today is this is the 50th anniversary of the voting rights bill today, and I was just up in arms. I'm just very, very upset at the Supreme Court and Congress for eliminating the Voting Act rights bill. I see that as another travesty that Republicans have placed on America. I think that not only is to vote a tremendous privilege in a free country, but in this particular free country, it's a constitutional right for our citizens. And for obstructionists to get in the way so that they can control who's going to be in political power, that's wrong. They got to be taken up behind the barn and strung up.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree with you. And I don't understand where this country's going. You've got even Putin over in Russia. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. This was a communist country who controlled their people with an iron fist. Even he has outlawed GMOs. It's not even a matter of whether or not you can label. He's going, I don't want GMOs in my country. Get them out of here. We're done with them. GMOs are outlawed in a bunch of countries. And the countries that are not outlawed, American companies have GMO labeling. They will say, like on a bottle of ketchup that's being sold in Europe, they put on there, made with GMO products, made with GMO tomatoes or whatever. When they say it's a tomato, they can't just say tomato. They have to say GMO tomato. Mm-hmm. So they don't mind doing it.
So they
for
alter it for the countries that demand it, and they certainly aren't going to use it in the country that should be demanding it.
Right, exactly. The one country that should be demanding it, the United States, the country that was built off of people's freedom and people's right to know and people's right to vote and people's right to understand and improve their lives. These as they call them, God-given rights that we have in this country, and the one party that shocks me that is taking all of those freedoms away right now is the Republican Party. And I look at somebody like Trump, and I'm like, he acts like more like a Ronald Reagan type Republican. He acts like an old school Republican.
Well, he originally was a Democrat, and then as he became, it's difficult for successful businessmen not to be Republicans because it's just the basis of what they do. However, I actually am supporting Donald Trump because I don't want to get a regular politician in there. I want to get somebody in there that's going to clean house, kick ass, and make some changes. And I think that he's probably the guy that can get it done and hopefully make this country a country that I can be as proud of as when I was a teenager.
And exactly, I couldn't have said it any better. He's someone who can't be bought off. If Monsanto could come to him, he's going, how much money? You don't have enough money. They're Monsanto, they probably do, but when you've got $4 or $5 billion already, I mean, how much more do you need? They can't buy him off. And I would love to know that we've got a politician who can't be bought and sold like the vast majority of them are right now.
Boy,
and
absolutely.
So when things like this Dark Act pass, I just look at it and I just throw my hands up and I go, this country's doomed. But when we come back from our break, maybe we'll talk more about the Dark Act. We'll talk about, maybe we'll find something fun to talk about or something happy. But we're going to want to break and we'll be back.
I don't know where this 15 minutes went, but I've enjoyed this part of it. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave when we come, and is geared for Wellness Corner. When we come back, I do have a few more questions, or comments at least, with regard to GMOs, and we'll talk to Sean about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave with his Geared for Wellness Corner. We were talking about GMOs, Sean, a little before we went on our break, and the fact, and we ought to tell people that's genetically modified organisms that actually go into your food. And the interesting thing is there are so many other countries not as technologically advanced as the United States that have put a ban on GMOs, Russia one of them, and you got to say to yourself, why hasn't the United States done that? First of all, there's always going to be a number of naysayers that aren't going to pay any attention and don't care. They won't pay the extra for the non-GMO stuff, and they're going to get the regular food anyway. But don't we deserve to have a transparency where we know, those of us that really care about our bodies and what we put in it, don't we deserve to have that transparency and know what's there? What do you feel about that?
You know what, that's exactly the word I think that best describes it, is that transparency. And we do deserve to have the transparency, and that's what our government is taking away from us right now. And I just, for the life of me, I mean, other than what we talked about earlier, that, you know, they're doing it because their pockets are getting fattened, and that is the only thing that makes sense, you know, is to keep corporate big business going. You know, there was I think 10 Republicans in the House of Representatives that voted against this, only 10. And there was actually most of the Democrats that voted for it were from farming states, go figure, where probably Monsanto owns the family farm is long gone. There aren't many family farms left. Most of them are large corporate farms.
But you know what? I believe in free trade, and I believe in supply and demand, and I believe that you could actually have both. There are those individuals that are very strictly want to watch what they're going to put into their bodies, and those other individuals that frankly just don't give a damn, right? And so
there are people who just, they don't care.
Yeah,
you know,
and so there's room for both.
I don't even know if it's that they don't care. I think that they just don't. They don't know, and they just assume that if they're eating a tomato, that it's just a tomato like their grandfather ate or their great grandfather ate. And the fact is, it's not. It's not even close. The apples aren't the same. You know, the food itself is being genetically modified to last longer, to maybe taste a little bit better. But it's the one thing it's not being genetically modified for is to have more nutritional value. Every time it's genetically modified, two things happen. We lose nutritional value because it's being replaced with something else, and we all of a sudden now I lost my train of thought. It loses the nutritional value, and we lose our ability for our body to process it. When something's been genetically modified, evolution, we evolve over time. You know, when you incorporate a certain diet into a region, your body over generations will adapt to it. The stronger ones, the ones that are able to use that food better, you know, they adapt to it. Like Central American, native Central American people, who were, eating corn for generation after generation. They eat corn, they do really well with it. I eat corn. I'm of European descent, so when I eat corn on the cob. I love corn on the cob. When I eat it, it just passes right through my system, and it comes out, and I can see it the next day. And
I think that's more than I want to know.
so I mean, listen, a lot of people are like that. Some people don't have the enzymes to break down corn.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. I love corn, but really, I probably shouldn't eat it. But it does. It passes through my system, And so when you take someone and you either introduce them into a diet that is foreign to their body, or you take the food that they were normally eating and now you genetically modify it, then all of a sudden their body can't process it. They can't digest it. It responds differently. Sometimes, like this whole gluten thing that we're talking, like everyone says, gluten allergies, gluten sensitivity and all this, celiac. And I think a part of that is not so much that people are gluten sensitive. It's that we've created so many hybrids. The wheat has never actually been genetically modified that I'm aware of. But the hybrid, which is kind of the same thing, we breed it and breed it and breed it to change it so it grows taller and it grows faster. It changes the way that our body responds to that protein. That gluten protein is very powerful, and in some people it actually turns into an opiate, and it creates all kinds of havoc in their brain.
Okay, so let's lighten up. Let's lighten up a little bit. Explain this to me. If I love watermelon, and now they've got seedless watermelons. Now, seedless watermelons generally aren't as sweet as the ones that have seeds, but do you get seedless watermelons because they're genetically modified?
Yeah, they've been. I don't know if it's a genetic modification or if it's just I'm assuming it's a genetic modification, but it could just be like a what they call a hybrid, also, where they find one that and then none of them are truly seedless. The seeds are just really, really tiny and soft. But they take those and then they try to breed more and more. It's like taking a dog, and you take the smallest one out of the litter, and you take the smallest one from another litter, and you have them made, and they make smaller dogs even, and you take those and you keep doing that process, and finally you got a dog. You take a Labrador, and now you got a Labrador that only weighs 35 pounds. Because you just kept breeding, but it takes generation after generation after generation to do that. Where when you genetically modify something, you can actually change it in an instant.
Okay, so
it doesn't take one
then help me
generation,
understand, because so it seems to me that the fact that I have seedless or seed watermelon doesn't necessarily mean genetically modified. Just could be a hybrid that has gone out here.
It could be a hybrid, and I've never actually checked out. And it's so funny you mentioned that, because literally I had watermelon this Sunday when we went to. In fact, I was back here in Laguna Beach. They have these concerts in the park every Sunday during the summertime, and it's so much fun. And big group of friends, we just go sit and listen to the music. And I had country music this past Sunday. The Sunday before was an Elvis impersonator, and oh my gosh, he was amazing. But I took some watermelon, cut it up, and I thought, someone took the seeds out of my watermelon, and it really pisses me off, because I want to have a seed spitting contest, and I can't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Remember when we used to eat, and we used to see who could spit the seeds the farthest. We can't do that anymore.
When I was young, we had a lot of different spitting contests. Sometimes it wasn't seeds.
What's that?
I said when I was young, we had a lot of spitting contests, and sometimes it wasn't seeds.
Exactly. Well, I want the seeds. I want the seeds back, but I can't find watermelon that isn't seedless anymore. Maybe I'd go to the farmer's market and get it. I don't know.
So explain to me now the difference, because we're coming down to we've got about 6 minutes left. The difference between regular food, organic food, and GMO food. Are there three differences?
Yeah, those three are different. Now, genetically, organic food, it has to be certified organic, and it has to be grown in a certain way without the use of any artificial fertilizers or chemicals or anything like that. You use all natural methods. There are some things that are allowed, like I think even like they use soap to keep the bugs off the food, and there's some
not insecticides.
But yeah, you can't use like Roundup. You know what I'm saying? No pesticides. There's no chemical pesticides of any type allowed. And not only that, but the ground has to have not had any of that used on it for a certain period of time. And I don't know if it's 2 years or 3 years or what it is, but there's a certain period of time. And the area around that field has also needs to be free of these types of pesticides. So that's organic. It's got very strict rules. It's got to be grown a certain way. It's got to be grown free of chemicals. It cannot be genetically modified. On and on and on.
So are you as concerned about GMO as you are? Let me put it another way. Do you care as much about organic and non-organic as you do about GMO?
GMO is the most concerning of the three, and even the non-GMO foods that are grown non-organically, so like just regular stuff, and I say regular, that means that they're sprayed with pesticides and so on. Those are of a major concern because a lot of these pesticides create a lot of neurological problems. Parkinson's disease and pesticides have a huge connection. But the thing with GMOs that makes them just absolutely horrible is the food itself is genetically modified, so the structure of the food at the cell level, at its pure DNA, is changed, and so that it is slightly different for whatever reason. They want it to be a brighter red apple. They want it to be like they have literally taken tomatoes and injected the DNA from this certain type of fish that survives in very, very cold waters, and they've now that fish's DNA is in the tomato's DNA, and the reason they did that is so that the tomatoes don't get destroyed by like a flash frost kind of thing overnight. So the tomato can survive cold weather because it's got DNA from a fish in it. Now that to me is just weird.
Okay, so what is the incentive to Monsanto to use GMOs? Do they make money because it's genetically modified? The seed costs more money, or are they able to get more crops per acre as a result of the GMO?
So Monsanto, when you think of the big crops like corn and soy, which that's a massive amount of crops here in the U.S. The reason why they're genetically modified is so that they can withstand excessive amounts of the Roundup, of the glyphosate, the pesticides. Monsanto is a chemical company. That's what they do. They brought Agent Orange and all kinds of chemicals to us. They brought all kinds of poisons to us.
Okay, so let me stop you so we don't go. Stop. Okay, yep. We're going too far into that technical field that is going to confuse the hell out of everybody because it does me too. What I want to get down to is. And I understand that Monsanto is a chemical company, and so, but the understanding now that I've heard you say is that they insert the GMOs. They do this so that they can use pesticides and like Roundup and these kinds of things, and it doesn't affect the actual crop. And it probably gives you more crops per acre at the same time. That is then diametrically opposed to the concept of organic, right?
That is exactly perfectly stated. It is very diametrically opposed to organic. And you hit it on the head right there. That's exactly what it is. They create these seeds, they patent the seeds, and so that now they can sell the seeds at a higher price. Nobody can replicate this seed. And now the farmer that uses this seed will need to use Monsanto's Roundup to spray, and they can spray a lot of it and kill all the weeds with no problem, and the plant doesn't suffer. The problem is it gets in the food. That stuff now, it's in the corn and it's in the soy, and then we take that stuff and we process it and put it in our food, and now we're eating all these pesticides along with food that is genetically not what it used to be.
Okay, so they genetically modify the food so that it doesn't so that the these other things like Roundup and these pesticides and things don't kill the fruit, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to kill us.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're not genetically modified. I'm the same DNA as I was, before, when I was born 46 years ago. My body is never going to be able to adapt to these foods because it will take generations and generations to happen, and that's where Monsanto is killing us as a human race. But we're out of time. Maybe we can talk more about this on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Monday,
so
Tuesday.
what do you mean Tuesday? You're on again tomorrow, my friend.
Oh, that's right. I'm on again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot. This is exciting. 3 days. So yes, I'll be on tomorrow at same time, right?
Yeah, same time. So we'll continue this conversation on GMOs, organics, and non-organics tomorrow, and I'll have more questions, and I'll try and keep your scientific vocabulary down to something that we can all understand.
Sounds great.
All right, buddy. Have a great evening and have a great party. And
Thanks,
don't get hurt. Stay safe.
We'll do. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Now, don't go away. Coming up next is my good buddy Jon Matthews with his Conservative Syndicate corner. And, boy, I'll bet you he's got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We'll see what's going on. If not, we'll just have a general good buddy conversation. So don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:07 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings. He's actually my guardian angel. You know, there probably wouldn't have been a broadcast today if he hadn't talked to me at about 3 o'clock. I was having some technical problems here, and this man just knows it all. I rely on him like I would a close brother. So let's not talk about him anymore like that. Let's just get him in here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. Jon Matthews. Hey, John, welcome aboard. Good to have you here, and it's good to have you anytime, but you did save my cookies today. I don't know what the heck was going on with all this equipment, but for some reason, you just have a knack for this.
Well, it's because I screw so many things up. So
you've
I am that guy that, walk through the maze every single day. You know,
you've
you learn by
hitting
hitting the bumps and the walls, and then you back up and you figure it out after a while. You know.
Yeah, you've lived through it. Eh? Hey, you know what? I wanted to. I don't know what you really wanted to talk about today, but I did want to start you off in a direction. And you know, the kids' table had their debate today, and later on, of course, it'll be the most popular guys. But I was a little disturbed at the way they were handling this debate. You'd think they would take this as an opportunity to let people know who they are and what they are and what they're all about. The only person that actually had a tendency to do that was Carly Fiorina, when she talked a little bit about her history. But every one of them, the only thing that they could say was that the first thing they're going to do is they're going to have a very, very busy day undoing all of Obama's executive orders. But what I didn't hear from them, you know what? I take that as a given. They've all said that already. What I didn't hear was anything new or anything they were going to do.
Well, that's kind of the common practice at debates, especially at this point in the game. You know, the very first debate is kind of like, let's get out there and get a feel for what's going on. I thought the questions, the way the questions were worded, it was like listening to a trial lawyer trying to lead somebody to a certain type of response. You know,
yeah.
You start out asking the general question, what do you think about the Iran deal or something like that? But then you start adding all these little extra things on it, given the fact that the terrorists are saying this, and Israel is saying that, and this, that, and the other. I think a perfect example would be the question that they gave on immigration. Mm-hmm. You know, they go through this big thing about immigration, about the number of illegals in the country, and how we need reform and everything else. And then they turn around and they say, well, what would you say to a child who is torn away from their family because of being deported? You know, and so it's like, they were trying to lead him to certain places, and I think what debaters do in a situation like that is they don't want to answer that question directly. So the two candidates that responded, I think it was Santorum and Perry, went in a completely different direction and never answered the question.
Well, yeah, but it's almost like, John. It's almost like entrapment by the moderators. They're trying to get these people into trouble.
Well, that's really what it is. The media is in the business of entrapping. They are in the business of the media is looking for the gotcha moment. They're looking for that moment that they can now play over and over and over again for the next 3 weeks to try to point out how, you know, what a doofus the candidates are to begin with. And in this particular debate, I don't think any of the candidates fell for it in that way. I was kind of, you know, looking at it, I felt Carly Fiorina really shined out of all of them. And I was looking at numbers right after the debate here. Mm-hmm. 60% of the people that are out there right now in Facebook world say that she won the debate. That's an enormous number. The next winner was Rick Perry at 17%. So 60% said Fiorina walked away with it. 13% said Rick Perry did a good job. The rest of them are in single digits. I think just because of my own personal bias, I just wish somebody would put Lindsey Graham to sleep.
Oh man, somebody needs to take him, put him behind a barn, and string him up. You know the thing is, I'm wondering, very honestly wondering. I'm not just saying this. These people that, for the lack of a better term, didn't make the main debate. The kids, the ones that are at the alternative table, let's call it. I'm guessing that this is kind of the beginning of the end for a lot of them. Some of them, I think Carly Fiorina can move forward, and I think even Rick Perry can move forward. You know, he did a phenomenal job in Texas. Creating jobs. He created all kinds of jobs, and
well,
so
I'm actually kind of surprised that Perry didn't make the top 10 cut. But you know, when you got to look at look at this from the perspective as to where we're at right now. We're still a good 18 months away from the election. Right now, Trump is holding court, you know, and everybody's loving it because he's saying things that everybody wants to say, and he's saying it in the way that most of us would say it across a dinner table from each other. the idea that Ben Carson made the top 10 is another indicator to me that there are a lot of people in this country that are just fed up with the average status quo day-to-day politics. And, Ben Carson is in no way, shape, or form a viable candidate, in my opinion. He does not articulate his ideas and thoughts well. He may be a great brain surgeon, but that doesn't articulate into the ability to deal with political issues. And
well, I think what people like about Ben Carson, because I personally don't like him, but I think there's a couple of things that they've got going with Ben Carson. Part of it, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, and that is that he's a black guy, and they got a black guy in there. But the other part of it, he's a very intelligent man, and he's not a politician. He comes from the working class, even as a physician, and I think that's a lot to do with the popularity that he has. The fact that he's African American, and the fact that he's not a career politician.
And that's the reason why somebody like Trump is up there. Trump is, he's bombastically egotistic, and he is the alter ego of Barack Obama, in my opinion. If this was a Star Trek episode, these guys would live in parallel universes, but they exemplify what people are feeling right now, and I think the feeling part of this thing is where the real candidate that captures this and is able to articulate it in terms of policy and leadership and planning will be the one that takes it in the end. And I'm not so sure who that is at this point. At this point in time, I think I'm hoping, and I'm speculating here. I don't know. I don't think Fiorina will be able to make it into the primary itself in terms of making it to the general election. But boy, she would be on my top of my list as a VP candidate. I mean, this woman is sharp and she is articulate. She had, to me, the quote of the day when they asked her about Donald Trump making the candidates irrelevant. And she said, well, I don't know. I never got a call from Bill Clinton when I announced my campaign. She turned to everybody else and said, did you get a call from him? Well, I guess, no, nobody here got a call from him. I guess that's because nobody here but Donald Trump donated money to the Clinton Foundation in her Senate run. And she just nailed it. And she did it in a kind of a snarky way, but she did it in a way that people had to look at that and go, they hadn't given that any thought. Like I say, the numbers show 60% of people being polled right now are saying she won this debate.
Well, let's talk about Carly for just a minute, because you know what? I was talking about. I think this election, there's a tremendous benefit if you're a non-politician and you come from the, for the lack of a better term, the working class, the working from the streets. Let's just call it, because it's certainly the executive class that Carly Fiorina was at is not the work. It wouldn't be what would be described as the working class, but she's not in the political class. And even though she's run for a number of political offices, she hasn't won any of them. So she's not really a career politician. She's just trying to be. And that's a little refreshing. So, what would happen if you had somebody like a Carly Fiorina as a vice president to somebody like a Donald Trump? I'd love to see that.
Oh, it would be great. You've got people with business minds that understand planning, understand objectives, understand, how to get the shortest distance between 2 points, how to make the tough decisions. What a combination. I actually, if I had my way about it, I think Trump might be a great Secretary of Commerce. Put him in someplace where he can use that expertise. If Trump has anything going for him, and if he pulls this off, if he really does pull this off, it's going to be because he has already picked up and already exhibited the fact that he knows I got to surround myself with people that know what they're doing. Yeah. He comes out and says things like Trey Gowdy would be my attorney general. Man, I can tell you every conservative in the country was jumping up and down on that one, going, yeah, you pick the right people and put them around you, and it makes you look pretty good. And even if you're a bombastic, egotistical, ass, it doesn't really seem to make any difference because Obama's proven that.
Well, you're right, John, because you can only accomplish what the geniuses you place around you create.
Right, and you pick the right people around you and put the right things, and get the right leadership in the right places, and boy, who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan wasn't a great policy wonk. but he got people around him that knew what was going on. And, the guy he was a phenomenal president.
Yeah, he sure was.
He made his mistakes, but
hold that thought about St. Ronnie, and when we come back, we'll pick up right after these brief messages. We're talking to my good buddy Jon Matthews from the Conservative Syndicate. He's on every Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. You don't want to miss him. Just go to his website at theconservativesyndicate.net for times and locations. We'll be right back with Jon after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy Jon Matthews from the Conservative Syndicate. And we were talking about St. Ronnie just as we were going on our break. John, you want to pick it up from there?
Well, I'm just saying that Ronald Reagan was not a real what you call a policy wonk. You know, he wasn't the most articulate candidate. Well, he was articulate, but I mean, he wasn't really the best qualified. And when he first entered into the race, he was very much like he was very much at the low end of the polls in the beginning. Very much like a Carly Fiorina in terms of his numbers. It wasn't until after they got well into the election cycle, that his numbers started to pick up. And so, I think I guess the point I would make first off is that we're still quite a bit of ways away from determining who's going to run. Even on the other side of the coin here, Clinton's in trouble. I mean, there's all the indications in the world that this girl is getting ready to be thrown under the bus.
Did you see the last poll about her honesty? They felt that she would be good for better for the economy than Bernie Sanders, but she only got about 3% of the people that thought she was more honest than Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, well, it was like one of the questions that was in the debate today. Mm-hmm. They were talking about the economy, and they had asked. The question was asked about the way it was framed to them was, it seems like a lot of Americans have become dependent on government, and that they like the idea of becoming dependent on government. And they asked the candidates to respond, "How do you do that?" Well, none of them gave a solid answer. I think they asked Santorum and Graham. And neither one of them they gave these little offshoot answers about, well, we need a leader that makes the economy work or something like that. Santorum floated his tax rate plan out there and everything. They never answered the question. But the point is that a lot of people, the people that vote for people like Clinton, and the reason Sanders is picking up some steam is because this is the part of the electorate that has become dependent on government and like it. They like the idea that somebody's going to take care of them and provide them with things and make sure that, the safety nets are out there and all the other stuff with it. I think Jindal answered it in probably the best way. He said, there's only so much money. You can only go so far with this, and then it's not going to work. So, that's the Margaret Thatcher thing. Socialism works until you run out of money. And so this whole idea of, I'm at this point more intrigued with what's going on with Clinton than I am what's going on the GOP side, because I've said there's still some weeding out that has to do here. We really need to find out, is Trump got substance? Because I don't think he does. I think right now it's just he has tapped into the anger, aspect of what's going on in the country. I was reading the other day there was a piece, they made a big deal about this. 72-year-old woman registered to vote for the first time in her life, and she's going to vote for Donald Trump. And why is that? It's because Trump, he speaks what we speak right now, but that doesn't equate and it doesn't articulate into a winning campaign any more than Ben Carson, who's very intelligent, but cannot articulate his ideas in a way that captures you. But these people, Fiorina, these are people that are outside the big political bubble, and they are gaining some popularity and some
So let's
steam.
talk about that for just a minute, because one of the things, I'm actually I'm really pretty pro Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump, and what I like about him is the same thing I liked about Ross Perot many years ago, and that is that he takes a business aspect of this. But here's the problem: it doesn't make any difference who you get. If you get a Donald Trump, or you get a Carly Fiorina, or you get a Rick Santorum or Perry, no matter who, or Hillary Clinton, it doesn't make any difference who you get. If they can't get Congress to support the things they want to do, we're going to get nowhere.
Well, I think Congress will follow who's ever in power, because the idea is self-preservation. So if you get somebody in there, right now we have Barack Obama in there, and they, the Republicans don't want to be called racist, they don't want to be called homophobes or whatever, so they do whatever Obama wants. They make it look like they're putting up a fight, but they're not. You get somebody in there like a Ted Cruz, and they'll turn conservative, because they don't really want to be held accountable. They want to follow whatever the representative, whatever the executive branch tells them to do. They want the executive branch to be the executive, because in that way they're not really held accountable. I mean, you consider the fact that these guys have a single-digit approval rate and they still get reelected. People don't care about Congress.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, is it that they don't care, or they're now so demoralized that they don't think they can do anything about it? They don't understand the strength of their vote. They're too damn lazy to go out and vote.
Well, I think laziness has a lot to do with it. I think apathy has even more to do with it.
Yeah.
People have just become very apathetic and just like, I don't care. Just don't bother me with this stuff. It's so bad. It's so dirty. You know, I don't want it. You know, you're upsetting my day. You're making me feel uncomfortable. And it's unfortunate that people that think this way just don't understand. If you think you're uncomfortable now, let these people take over. Let's let Barack Obama and his third term by proxy. Let's get a Joe Biden or a Hillary Clinton in there, and let's really see what happens here. Hey, better yet, let's give them control. The Democrats control the Congress, and watch how fast you become uncomfortable.
So listen, I wanted to make a comment to you before we run out of time. We got some time here. I was really yesterday I was really kind of disappointed in Donald Trump because Donald Trump has said he can't be bought, nothing's going to happen. He's running this campaign with his own money. Yesterday I got a solicitation for money for Donald Trump, and part of it was that he would match my contribution dollar for dollar with his own money. I thought he was going to do it all with his own money.
Well, when we talk about money in politics, I think everybody takes that as a kind of an accepted tradition. It's almost like dogma that the person with the most money is going to win. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then Jeb Bush is our next president. But I don't think that really, in this day and age, I don't think that works. We saw this in the 2012 election. We saw it back in the 2010 election. The idea that the guys with the most money didn't necessarily win. Now, certainly Barack Obama did. I think he's still got the record for the most fundraising or the most money spent on a campaign. I think
he actually changed the way politicians campaign in the grassroots with those kind of using the new technology to get those kind of donations. He changed the way all politicians. You got to hand it to the guy. He knew how to run a campaign. They knew how to. You got the right people behind him. Yeah.
They mastered social media. They're still using social media to their advantage, and you can see it out there. I mean, this Twitter war that's going on right now between Clinton and Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush makes one statement, a stupid statement at that, which I think we're going to hear more of.
Yeah.
And so what happens is this Twitter war goes off. I was watching one of the interesting graphics. That you bring this up. One of the interesting graphics that I saw today after the debate when Brett Baier came on Fox News and was doing kind of a recap of everything, and he had they were tracing the Facebook posts over the last 6 months or so, and what was being posted out there and where it was coming from. A huge amount. The majority of posts were coming from the southern border of the United States, and they were all pro-Trump. Why is that? Because immigration is an issue down there. And then when you get up farther north, it all begins to lean more towards people like Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, and it fits the demographic. My point is simply this, is that the way that this whole thing is shaping up and the way that it's formulating, what they did was they said, okay, what are the top issues today for people? And in the top 5, it was the economy, it was Iran, it was immigration, and what was the other one? Immigration. Well, anyway, the racism, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, I remember doing a study on this last year, or the last election, 2012 election. Every one of those issues, with the exception of the economy, was at the bottom of the list. So what it's telling us is how easily the media can manipulate the electorate and make whatever issues they want be the issues. This is the indicator here. This is why we get when I'm talking about the emotional factor here. Donald Trump is tapping into the emotion behind the immigration thing. Why is that? Because that's been stirred up by the media. The racism issue. Why? Because the media has stirred it up. They've made it an emotional issue, and it moves to the top of the food chain once you attach the emotion to it. So that, in and of itself, I just look at that and I go, see, this is our problem. We're led around by our emotions in this country, and reason has gone out the window. We don't look at things and say, well, there is an immigration problem, but we don't have to get emotional about it. We don't have to say, oh, God, Mexicans are taking all our jobs and this, that, and the other. Why don't we just say, hey, what do we do to fix this? And just leave it at that. But the idea that these issues of a year ago were at the bottom of the list are now at the top proves that we can be led in any direction the media chooses to lead us. And that, in and of itself, is a testimony as to why the country is so messed up right now, and why people like Donald Trump are at the top of the polls, and why people like Bernie Sanders are rising out of the cesspool called socialism. And people are looking at him going, yeah, somebody just fix my problem. I don't care who does it. I don't care how you do it. Just fix it.
See, and I agree, and I agree with you, which is why I kind of feel like that a Bernie Sanders and a Donald Trump and a Carly Fiorina have a better shot at going all the way than what a lot of these news pundits are actually saying. Because the one thing that they finally clued in on, and you and I've talked about it for a long, long time, is that the American people are pissed off. They are sick and tired of Washington, D.C. business as usual. They want somebody to go in there and kick ass, and that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, and if the candidate that can channel that and turn it into a productive campaign, void of all the name-calling and the mudslinging and everything else, I don't care if that person's only got $20 in their campaign chest, that's the person who's going to win.
Yeah.
If they can do that, all the money in the world is not going to help them. Like I said, that was shown in 2010, 2012. People that put the most money in those campaigns, most of them did not win, because there's been this gradual uprising in the conservative base to get back to the polls, and it just takes the right person. I hope Trump keeps stirring it up. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's a viable candidate, but I hope he keeps doing what he's doing, because it's going to force the candidates to take on these issues and put it out there in a way that people can say, hey, okay, I understand what the plan is.
But, John, everybody keeps saying Trump is not a viable candidate, but he's got double-digit, he's running away with this thing.
Well, I think once the media has their fun, once they're done with him, and they start showing just how much of a liberal-leaning person he really is, he'll be history. If he makes it into a general election with Hillary Clinton, Hillary's won, because Trump's record is very much like Hillary's. There's very little difference in their actual leanings, and they can trace the money. Money will become the big issue, not how much Trump has, but how much he has spent and where it's been spent. Yeah. He will become Jeb Bush. Right now he's having his fun. The media loves it because it's stirring up all the distaste for everything, and the infighting of the GOP and the Tea Party, this and all the other stuff. They're having fun with it right now. But when it comes down to it, just like Hillary's going to have baggage in the general election, Trump will have the same baggage.
Well, we'll see, because I think there's a part of me that wants to see Trump go against Hillary. Anyway, John, we're out of time. Why don't you give out your show information? I've been plugging your show. I just love being on your show.
Oh, I love having you on there, and especially these last few weeks. It's good to see you finally riled up and willing to be a little raunchy in your language, if I can put it that way. Talking more like a conservative, my friend. Anyway, you can go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and find anything you want to know about our show. The people on it, Bob's part of our panel, the other people that contribute weekly to the show, what we do. You can catch our archives, our blogs. Everything is there, theconservativesyndicate.net.
Hey, John, this has been fantastic. This has been a great show. I've really enjoyed it, and I really enjoy being on your show. While I'm on my show on Wednesdays, I remind everybody to tune into your show, and that I'm about to be there in about 15 minutes. And I'm pretty sure that you probably do the same thing for me if you came on before me, right?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Hey, have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Saturday.
All right, my friend. God bless. Take care.
All right, take care. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? It's August the 6th, but it's also somebody's birthday. Well, you know what? We all know this guy, or at least those of us that are a little older know this guy. He was born in 1928 and died in 1987. He was a painter, a printmaker, and a filmmaker who was a leading figure in the visual art movement known as pop art. Happy birthday, Andy Warhol. And here's a guy, David Robinson, born in 1965, retired basketball player who played center for the San Antonio Spurs for his entire career. And also, this person was a pop star born in 1972 who became famous in the mid-1990s as the member of the Spice Girls as Baby Spice. Happy birthday, Jerry Halliwell. And what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you on August the 6th, 1991, the Berners-Lee releases files describing his idea of the World Wide Web. That's WWW debuts as a publicly available service on the Internet. And in 1996, NASA announces that the ALH 84001 meteorite, thought to originate from Mars, contains evidence of primitive life forms. Wow, how exciting was that? And you know what? Our quote for today comes from Deepak Chopra. He says, Holding on to anything is really like holding on to your breath. You begin to feel suffocation. It was freeing to let it go. Yeah. Doesn't that just make sense? Well, it's time for our daily teachings for your life, the secret daily teachings. And again, I want to remind you that this is all about positive mental attitude. You know, a positive attitude can just work miracles. It can make things happen that you never believed in. You know what? Just try it. Try it. I've been talking to you about it forever. Try it. You'll be glad you did. So, you know, the secret teaching for today is instead of focusing on the world's problems, give your attention and energy to trust, love, abundance, education, and peace. You know what? If a positive mental attitude works the way that I say that it works, wow, what an outcome if enough of us could just do that. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is know when to leave a conflict at work alone. Yeah, you know, you've probably heard that the only way to deal with work disagreements is to set things straight right away. While dealing with conflict directly is often the most effective route, there are times when it's better to do nothing. The goal of engaging in a conflict discussion is to reach a resolution. So, it's probably not worth having that talk if you suspect that the other person isn't interested in addressing the issue or is unwilling to have a constructive conversation. You should also leave conflict alone if you yourself don't have the energy or the time to invest in preparing for and having a productive conversation. And it's probably a good idea to avoid a conflict discussion if you have little or no power, such as when you're dealing with someone above you. Just keep in mind that this approach won't work if you can't put the disagreement behind you. Think about it. It's true. Everything I tell you is true. All right. It's time for our interesting but useless facts. I sometimes think I want to do some kind of a technical sound effect or something with this, but you know what? I think that the facts kind of stand on their own. They're pretty interesting. Did you know that bunny rabbits poop almost every time they hop around in a newly explored area? Now, I'm not expecting you to put that to the test, but somebody has, and somebody wrote it down and made a record of it. Did you know that 22,000 checks will be deducted from the wrong bank accounts in the next hour? Wow. Can you imagine that? I wonder if they catch them. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't, I suppose. Did you know that babies crawl an average of 200 meters a day? Yeah, that's about 600 feet. That's quite a bit, if you think about it. Did you know that apples, not caffeine, are more efficient at waking you up in the morning? Wow. I didn't know that. So I guess if you have apple juice, I wonder if it's the same. Do you get pectin in apple juice, or is that in the peeling? You know what? Try it. Let me know. I'm going to stick with my coffee. You know that rain contains vitamin B12? Wow. So I guess when it's raining, you need to go out there and just soak it all in through your skin and open your mouth, right? That would work. Here's one. Banging your head against a wall uses 150 calories an hour. I don't think that's the way that I want to burn calories. The letters KGB stand for Komitet Gossendarstvenoi, let me try this again. Gossendarstvenoi Bezumplastnosti. You know what? Let's just stick with KGB. That's just the way it's going to be. How about this? The average litter of Mexican wolves is between 4 and 7 pups. I don't know why we care. Let's see. A Brachiosaurus had a heart the size of a pickup truck. Wow. Give that one a thought. Let me leave you with this. The little bags of netting for gas lanterns, called mantles, are radioactive, so much so that they will set off an alarm at a nuclear reactor. Wow.
Isn't that interesting? That's news. That's something new. Now, don't go away, because when we come back from this brief commercial message, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Evan Cho from Ironton, Michigan, and he's asking about withholding exemptions, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So please don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DEEs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff, association with the nationally syndicated celebrity, that's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 93 on its way to 65. And as usual, I can't wait till it gets to the 65. Well, we're coming down to the wire. Time for our emails. Again, I've got to remind you as a kind of a disclosure that this is an entertainment part of the show, and it's based. The answers are based on the information you give me, and sometimes that's a little sketchy. We do give you the best answer that we can, but we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional, and they're going to save you more money than they cost you. They're going to give you peace of mind, that's for sure. Let you sleep at night because you don't have to worry about what the results of the answers are going to be, because part of their requirement of being a licensed professional is that they carry errors and omissions insurance, which means if they make a mistake, They pay the piper, not you. So sleep at night. Don't worry about the doorbell, registered letters, tapping on your shoulder. You know what? You got a place to go. Well, first email up today is from Evan Cho from Ironton, Michigan, as I said before, asking about withholding exemptions. And he says, I incurred a big business loss that will wipe out most of my tax bill for the year. I want to file a new W-4 taking enough withholding exemptions to eliminate the tax withheld from my pay. But I've been told that if I take more than 10, it must be reported to the IRS and will invite an audit. Is this true? Well, Evan, you don't have to be concerned about this. The IRS used to require that employers report it to it whenever an employee took more than 10 withholding exemptions. But the current requirement is that employers only need to submit W-4s if the IRS requests them. Now, the IRS may then limit how many exemptions that you're actually going to be allowed. You can and should take any number of withholding exemptions that you're entitled to in order to balance your tax payments for the year with your tax liability for the year. So the big deal is, everybody has to pay their fair share of taxes, but not one god-awful penny more. So keep that in mind, Devin. Next email comes from Dylan Culverson from Fitchburg, Massachusetts, asking about inherited bonds. And he says, I inherited thousands of dollars worth of Series EE savings bonds from my mother. Is all of the interest on them taxed to me, even though most of it was earned before she died? Great question, Dylan. Here's the thing. Interest on Series EE savings bonds generally is taxable when they mature or are cashed in, but the owner can elect to pay tax on the interest every year if they want. If your mother made this election, then only interest earned after she died is going to be taxable to you. Find out if she made the election by looking at her personal tax returns to see if they reported the interest annually. Similarly, your mother's estate could have elected to pay tax on all the interest earned until her death, leaving only later earned interest taxable to you. So ask the executor about that. If neither election was made, then all of the interest on the bonds is going to be taxable to you. But there's a break here. If her estate paid estate taxes, a portion is going to be an itemized deduction for you, ameliorating the impact on reporting that interest. So keep that in mind. Next email comes from Gregory Draper from Bradenton, Florida, asking about tax obligations abroad, and writes, if I go on an extended foreign vacation or around-the-world cruise, how are IRS tax notices sent to me? And how should my tax filing obligations be handled while I'm gone? Good question, Gregory. If you're outside of the United States on vacation as opposed to living and working outside the United States, your tax filing obligations are the same as if you were at home. But today, it's easy to prepare and file your tax return by computer from almost anywhere. And you can, of course, get an automatic 6-month filing extension before leaving home. It can be a good idea to name a trusted agent such as your tax pro to receive notices from the IRS. Instruct the IRS to send copies of all tax notices to your agent by filing IRS Form 8821. That's Tax Information Authorization. And for more information, see IRS Publication 54. That's the tax guide for U.S. citizens and resident aliens abroad. You'll be glad that you did that, I'm sure. Last email comes from Tristan Eberhardt from Faro, Oklahoma, asking about separate but equal, and writes, when a married couple files separate returns, can one spouse itemize deductions and the other take the standard deduction? Well, Tristan, answer to your question is no. Spouses who file separate returns must treat deductions in the same manner. If one spouse itemizes, so must the other. This is sometimes a problem with estranged spouses, so you want to be a little careful about that. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, My expert contributor is going to be David Garrett on the law, and my special guest, Sean LaFave, is back with his series, Geared for Wellness. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And in the meantime, you know what? Stay safe, stay happy, be good, you know what? And love everybody like you'd like them to love you. In the meantime, good night, everybody.